In the last 7 years, I've moved jobs 3 times and had a £37,000 increase in salary along the way. My first move gave me a salary boost of £5,000, then I moved again and jumped £15,000, then again for £7,000, and finally I stayed in the same job but secured a £10,000 increase. This was all very deliberate, and to do this there were 3 simple principles that I kept in mind. The first one is to focus on your own value to the company. The job market is called a market for a reason. It's a value exchange, i.e. how much someone will pay you for what you can offer them in return. If there is one piece of advice to take away from this video, then it's to make yourself indispensable. I keep this phrase at the forefront of everything that I do in my career. For example, become that person that everyone relies on, the person that can answer any question about the business, the person that everyone goes to for help. Become that person that visibly works hard, someone that will diligently work through the occasional weekend to meet a deadline, just don't do it too often. Basically, someone that really cares about the quality of their work. Become that person that's a consummate professional, the person that's always willing to help, someone that radiates positivity and never moans, someone that's especially conscientious about doing a good job. If you can do these things and make yourself indispensable, then you put yourself in a strong situation when it comes to pay negotiations. For example, in my current role, I was headhunted by an external recruiter and decided to do the interview to hear what the other company had to say. They ended up offering me the role, which would have increased my salary by 10k. I went back to my current role to tell them this, and because of my value to the company, they made me a really generous counteroffer and matched the pay straight away, increased my bonus percentage, and even reduced my workload. All because they were worried that I was going to leave and the value that they saw in me to the company. The second principle I followed was to invest in myself. Imagine you're a video game character and need to keep leveling up to take on more difficult challenges in the game. You'll boost your character's strength, health, skills and weapons. And in reality, you can do the same to level up your career and enhance your earning potential. And I'll give you a few examples of how I did this. The first one is through professional qualifications. I work in finance, and it was always my goal to become a qualified accountant. I started at the bottom and took on an entry-level finance role, with no prior experience and no relevant degree. In my spare time, I self-studied the CIMA qualification, which is the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. I had to pass 17 exams in total, and this took me around 4 years. So it was a big sacrifice in terms of my time and social life, and I self-funded as well, which cost me around £13,000 in study materials, membership and exam fees. But once I became CIMA qualified, I was able to achieve a salary jump of £15,000, so it was an unbelievable return on investment. Have a think about any qualifications you can do in your role to add value and level up. You can also invest in yourself by considering any relevant courses. Being an accountant, I use Excel all day, every day. A couple of companies that I've worked for offered free Excel masterclasses, which I volunteered for, and they taught me some extra tips and tricks which helped me to enhance some of my spreadsheets and be more efficient in my role, again adding value. I also use a coding language called SQL for some of the data analysis, and taught myself the basics from a YouTube course. This has allowed me to do a lot of my own data analysis, rather than having to rely on the data analysts within the business. Ask yourself this: is there anything that you wish you could be better at in your current role? And are there any courses available to help you to do this? The third investment in myself was to expand my bookshelf. When I made the 15k jump, this meant that I became a manager for the first time, with 2 direct reports. I had never managed before, and obviously wanted to do a good job, so I sought out some books on management to read in my spare time. My out-and-out favourite was Extreme Ownership, which emphasises the point of taking absolute accountability as a manager. Link in the description if you're interested. I also read a lot around finance, business and economics, which helps my role as an accountant. Would reading around your current role help you to level up any aspect of your skills? And the final investment that I made in myself was seeking out a mentor, someone who was ahead of me and was where I wanted to get to. In an old role, I asked the finance director if he would mentor me, and he seemed really flattered and agreed to help. So once a month, we had a 1-hour meeting to discuss my development, where my mentor would give me guidance and advice based on their own experiences and expertise, something that I found really valuable. Is there anyone at your current role that is where you want to be? Have you ever spoken to them? And what could they teach you? After focusing on your own value to the company and investing in yourself, the third principle I follow is to deliberately seek out progress. What I mean by this is actively pursuing opportunities to advance, grow, and develop. Ask yourself, what is the next level, and how do I get there from where I am now? This can be as simple as taking on extra responsibilities, applying for jobs at that next level up, or even just asking for a pay rise. There was a recent YouGov survey that shows that 53% of Britons have never even asked for a pay rise. Let me know if you're one of these in the comments section below. Now, you can't just expect a pay rise just because you've asked for one, but you can show your employers the value that you've added and why you might deserve a raise. For example, do you have examples of identifying inefficiencies in existing processes and then implementing improvements which have increased productivity, increased profit, reduced costs, or enhanced quality? If you have, then they are great examples of adding value to an organisation. Alongside this, something I always look to do personally is to take on additional tasks from my managers. This does two things. Number one, gives you exposure and experience of tasks in a higher role, which can prepare you for when you eventually make that move. And number two, relieves pressure and workload on your manager, which builds a stronger relationship and tends to help when it comes to salary negotiations, counter-offers, and development opportunities. I've found it much easier to get a raise or a counter-offer if the person in charge of your salary likes you. Another thing to be aware of is identifying that point where you've plateaued in your job. You can do this by asking yourself a couple of simple questions. Have you stopped learning? And has your job become easy? Answering yes to either of those questions tends to mean you're probably deep in your comfort zone, and a change is needed if you want to carry on progressing. And this change can either be through an internal or external move. By deliberately seeking out progress, I've first looked to progress within the organisation I was working at, and if that wasn't possible, then I would have to look elsewhere. And this is why I've moved jobs 3 times in the last 7 years. I don't want to stand still, and I want to keep progressing. Those are my 3 principles that have helped me to advance in my career and increase my salary. To recap, number 1, focus on your own value to the company. Number 2, invest in yourself. And number 3, deliberately seek out progress. Have you done anything similar to help your career? What would you add? Let me know in the comments section below. I do read every message, and I will respond to everyone that I can. I hope that you found this video interesting and informative, and I hope that it's given you inspiration and ideas for your own personal finances. If you have enjoyed this video, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to make sure that you don't miss any future videos. Likes, comments and subscriptions really do help the channel out a lot. And on a personal note, I do really enjoy speaking to everyone that watches and takes time to comment. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.